I have stayed these years in my hovel because of you. I have taught myself languages because of you. I have made my body strong because I thought you might be pleased by a strong body. I have lived my life with only the prayer that some sudden dawn you might glance in my direction. I have not known a moment in years when the sight of you did not send my heart careening against my rib cage. I have not known a night when your visage did not accompany me to sleep. There has not been a morning when you did not flutter behind my waking eyelids. Is any of this getting through to you, Buttercup, or do you want me to go on for a while? Never stop. There has not been... If you're teasing me, Wesley, I'm just going to kill you. How can you even dream I might be teasing? Well, you haven't once said you loved me. That's all you need? Easy. I love you, okay? Want it louder? I love you. Spell it out, should I? I-L-O-V-E-Y-O-U. Want it backward? You love I. You're teasing now, aren't you? A little, maybe. I've been saying it so long to you, you just wouldn't listen. Every time you said, "Farm boy, do this," you thought I was answering as you wish. But that's only because you were hearing wrong. I love you was what it was. But you never heard. And you never heard. Hear you now, and I promise you this. I will never love anyone else. Only Wesley, until I die. He nodded, took a step away. I'll send for you soon. Believe me. Would my Wesley ever lie? He took another step. I'm late. I must go. I hate it, but I must. The ship sails soon and London is far. I understand. He reached out with his right hand. Buttercup found it very hard to breathe. Goodbye. She managed to raise her right hand to his. They shook. Goodbye, he said again. She made a little nod. He took a third step, not turning. She watched him. He turned, and the words ripped out of her. Without one kiss? And they fell into each other's arms. There have been 5 great kisses since 1642 BC, when Saul and Delilah Corn's inadvertent discovery swept across Western civilization. Before then, couples hooked thumbs. And the precise rating of kisses is a terribly difficult thing, often leading to great controversy. Because although everyone agrees with the formula of affection, times purity times intensity times duration. Oh, it's a formula. Okay, let me start that again. And the precise rating of kisses is a terribly difficult thing, often leading to great controversy. Because although everyone agrees with the formula of affection times purity times intensity times duration, no one has ever been completely satisfied with how much weight each element should receive. But on any system, there are 5 that everyone agrees deserve full marks. Well, this one left them all behind. The first morning after Wesley's departure, Buttercup thought she was entitled to do nothing more than sit around moping and feeling sorry for herself. After all, the love of her life had fled. Life had no meaning. How could you face the future, etc., etc.? But after about 2 seconds of that, she realized that Wesley was out in the world now, getting nearer and nearer to London. And what if a beautiful city girl caught his fancy while she was just back here moldering? Or worse, what if he got to America and worked his jobs and built his farm and made their bed and sent for her, and when she got there, he would look at her and say, "I'm sending you back. The moping has destroyed your eyes. The self-pity has taken your skin. You're a slobby-looking creature. I'm marrying an Indian girl who lives in a teepee nearby and is always in the peak of condition." Buttercup ran to her bedroom mirror. "Oh, Wesley," she said, "I must never disappoint you." And she hurried downstairs to where her parents were squabbling. 16 to 13, not past breakfast yet. "I need your advice," she interrupted. "What can I do to improve my personal appearance?" "Start by bathing," her father said. "And do something with your hair while you're at it," her mother said. "Unearth the territory behind your ears. Neglect not your knees." "That will do nicely for starters," Buttercup said. She shook her head. "Gracious, but it isn't easy being tidy." Undaunted, she set to work. Every morning she awoke, if possible by dawn, and got the farm chores finished immediately. There was much to be done now, with Wesley gone, and more than that, ever since the Count had visited, everyone in the area had increased his milk order. So there was no time for self-improvement until well into the afternoon. But then she really set to work. First, a good cold bath. Then, while her hair was drying, she would slave after fixing her figure faults. One of her elbows was just too bony, the opposite wrist not bony enough. And exercised what remained of her little baby fat. Start that sentence over. And exercise what remained of her baby fat, little left now, she was nearly 18. And brush her hair. Her hair was the color of autumn, and it had never been cut, so 1,000 strokes took time. But she didn't mind, because Wesley had never seen it clean like this, and wouldn't he be surprised when she stepped off the boat in America? Her skin was the color of wintry cream, and she scrubbed every inch well past glistening, and that wasn't much fun, really, but wouldn't Wesley be pleased with how clean she was as she stepped off the boat in America? And very quickly now her potential began to be realized. From 20th, she jumped within 2 weeks to 15th, to unheard of change in such a time. But 3 weeks after that, she was already 9th and moving. The competition was tremendous now, but the day after she was 9th, a 3-page letter arrived from Wesley in London, and just reading it over put her up to 8th. That was really what was doing it for her more than anything. Her love for Wesley would not stop growing, and people were dazzled when she delivered milk in the morning. Some people were only able to gape at her, but many talked, and those that did found her warmer and gentler than she had ever been before. Even the village girls would nod and smile now, and some of them would ask after Wesley, which was a mistake, unless you happened to have a lot of spare time. Because when someone asked Buttercup how Wesley was, well, she told them. He was supreme as usual, he was spectacular, he was singularly fabulous. Oh, she could go on for hours. Sometimes it got a little tough for the listeners to maintain strict attention, but they did their best, since Buttercup loved him so completely. Which was why Wesley's death hit her the way it did. He had written to her just before he sailed for America. The Queen's Pride was his ship, and he loved her. That was the way his sentences always went. It is raining today, and I love you. My cold is better, and I love you. Say hello to horse, and I love you. Like that. And then there were no letters, but that was natural. He was at sea. Then she heard. She came home from delivering the milk, and her parents were wooden. Off the Carolina coast, her father whispered. Her mother whispered, without warning, at night. What? From Buttercup. Pirates, said her father. Buttercup thought she'd better sit down. Quiet in the room. He's been taken prisoner, then, Buttercup managed. Her mother made a no. It was Roberts, her father said. The dread pirate Roberts. Oh, Buttercup said. The one who never leaves survivors. Yes, her father said. Quiet in the room. Suddenly, Buttercup was talking very fast. Was he stabbed? Did he drown? Did they cut his throat asleep? Did they wake him, do you suppose? Perhaps they whipped him dead. She stood up then. I'm getting silly, forgive me. She shook her head, as if the way they got him mattered. Excuse me, please. With that, she hurried to her room. She stayed there many days. At first, her parents tried to lure her, but she would not have it. They took to leaving food outside her room, and she took bits and shreds, enough to stay alive. There was never noise inside, no wailing, no bitter sounds. And when she at last came out, her eyes were dry. Her parents stared up from their silent breakfast at her. They both started to rise, but she put a hand out and stopped them. I can care for myself, please. And she set about getting some food. They watched her closely. In point of fact, she had never looked as well. She had entered her room as just an impossibly lovely girl, and the woman who emerged was a trifle thinner, a great deal wiser, an ocean sadder. This one understood the nature of pain, and beneath the glory of her features there was character, and a sure knowledge of suffering. She was 18. She was the most beautiful woman in 100 years. She didn't seem to care. "You're all right?" her mother asked. Buttercup sipped her cocoa. "Fine," she said. "You're sure?" her father wondered. "Yes," Buttercup replied. There was a very long pause. "But I must never love again." And she never did. End of chapter 1. I'm going to pause there and get a drink because I'm feeling it now. Going back to what Andark said before, yeah, the character development in Buttercup in just one chapter, like you really just watch her grow up. And she's much more flat, I think, in the movie. So maybe that's another tick in the column of maybe it's okay if somebody remakes this, if they do it right. You know, give her a little bit more 3 dimensions instead of 2. Where did my... Oh, okay. I do like that... let me go back to it. The description of her. A great deal wiser and an ocean sadder. I don't know. I think anytime someone invokes the ocean, there's like so much emotion that can be conveyed with a description of like that uses the emotion. It uses the ocean. It's getting hot. Let's see. How long have I been streaming? I think I'm going to try turning the fan on and see if that is okay sound-wise. I'll be right back. All right. Does that sound okay? I can see the mic thing is wobbling with the sound of the fan, but I have it on low, so I think it's okay. You can't hear it at all. Maybe there's a gate on the microphone and I don't know about it because I haven't figured out how this microphone works yet. So it's possible it's just cutting it out. Or maybe OBS is doing that. I don't know. I have to look at how things work. But if you can't hear it, that's fine. So, what was I saying? Oh, the ocean. Yeah, because they describe Wesley's eyes as being something like with something to do with the ocean colored eyes or something like that. And then in describing her, it draws back to, again, she's like they're using the ocean as part of her description, and so I like that sort of balance. There's a lot of I've been seeing that there's a lot of like these characters are connected through the visual description or the sometimes not visual, but in like the words that they say and stuff. So I do like that style, and I do like kind of the callback to a different character, or to say like these people or these incidents are connected in some way. Should I keep going? I was gonna try and do like a chapter per stream. I can't help but wonder though if that is lack of depth in the author. It could be, but it feels in some ways deliberate for specific characters. Like the one I mentioned before at the beginning of the stream was the fictional version of William Goldman says something, and then in describing the mother is talking to the son, and she uses the same words to kind of describe the son. And I kind of feel like there's that father son connection. Um, so it could be just like a lack of ways to describe a person, but it does feel a little bit more deliberate in who is being connected. Um, but yeah, if it happens a bunch of times with as we go through the book, if it happens more with just sort of random people, then yeah, I might be like, well, he's maybe running out of ways to describe a person or something like that. But I feel like, at least right now, it feels more deliberate. Hi there. Thanks for joining our book club. If you'd like to join the conversation, I would love it if you would leave us a comment. And if you'd like to see more, check out the playlist.